Yo, welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Song Theory Podcast. I am so happy to be here. I am excited because this is the inaugural episode. So cheers to you all who are joining me here right now. Thank you all so much. If you're tired of seeing my short clips online, or if you want to go deeper, then Patreon, where I am right now, is the place to be. Only $5 a month that I am asking people for as support to me and the podcast that I'm making. And that's it. That's less than a cup of coffee. Okay. And so you can be here listening to the full scope of these theories right on Patreon. So please, thank you so much. And here we are. So for those of you that are here right now, thank you so much. I appreciate it. So what you just heard was a freestyle from JCole called Brooklyn Zoo. The Brooklyn Zoo freestyle. And I wanted to talk about JCole first at the top of the podcast because JCole has been really surprising me. Okay. So his recent project called Birthday Blizzard 26 just dropped. I believe it's considered an LP. It's only like 4 songs, right? And it's been really interesting listening to it because he actually, in my opinion, JCole actually does some of his best work when it is not a main project. This is just my opinion, okay? Don't shoot me. That's just how I feel. Some of his work that I've listened to on these side quests that he does on his LPs and his EPs and his mixtapes, some of them sound like he's just more free to say what he wants to say, right? Some of it just sounds like he is actually expressing himself in a way that sometimes it doesn't sound like he's able to express himself on his more mainline albums, right? And so I really enjoy this. And that song you heard is part of a collection of songs that I wanted to talk about because, you know, for the most part, I'm kind of concerned about JCole. All right. So as many of you know, JCole was caught up in a beef not too long ago with Drake and Kendrick Lamar. Now, JCole did not get caught all the way up only because he had decided not to engage that far into it. OK, in fact, he bailed out of it. He apologized and he just no longer talked about the beef. He rode around his bike in New York City and people left him alone for the most part. And so ever since that happened, I think a lot of people kind of not forgot or forgave JCole. But I think what happened was they sort of just stopped thinking about JCole, especially in the top 3. A lot of people really stopped regarding him in the top 3 because if you're familiar with hip hop, you know, part of hip hop culture is the competition. Part of a huge part of hip hop culture is hip hop beefs, right? Going back and forth, arguing, right? You had Jay-Z and Nas. You had Biggie and Tupac. You had Eminem and MGK. You had all these rappers and artists who for years and years have been going at it with each other. And that's just sort of part of the culture, right? That is a very integral part of hip hop. And JCole decided not to engage with it. And so people did feel a certain type of way when he took a step back. What we have all noticed, though, is not just since this project, right? Since Birthday Blizzard 26, but one of his other projects, I think it was called I Might Delete Later or something like that. He also started dissing Drake and Kendrick. And every time this happens, everyone gets a little frustrated with JCole, right? Because we're like, okay, you step back, you bailed out from it, and now you want to say something else again about it, right? One of his most recent freestyles, I believe it was called Golden Goose Freestyle. He had a few lines on there that I want to read over because some people listened to this and thought that this was a direct diss to Kendrick Lamar and JCole, right? I mean, Kendrick Lamar and Drake, right? So the first thing he said was, if the streams say you winning, why your tours is losing? When the math ain't mathin', of course you're juicing. That mean the bots is boosting. Cut the tough guy image is not conducive, right? Now, of course, I'm not going to sound like JCole when I say that. I wish I did, but I don't. And a lot of people saw this and thought to themselves, he must be talking about Drake. The tough guy image is something that's been associated with Drake's persona for a long time. And that's something that a lot of people think that he's communicating right here, right? But it goes deeper because now we're talking about bots. We're talking about boosting. Who has been in the news lately about boosted bots and stuff like that, right? Between Kendrick Lamar, Drake in their lawsuit, right? Drake alleging that Kendrick Lamar's songs were boosted and botted by the record label, right? Then you have people alleging that Drake's music was also boosted and botted. Okay. And UMG, Universal Music Group, is under, and it was basically under fire for people believing that they were the ones that were eliciting all of this happening, right, with the music. And they're not the only ones too, right? You have people, other artists and musicians like Doechii, who've been accused of botting and boosting and stuff. So a lot of people are figuring that JCole right now is talking about Drake and Kendrick. Now, as we go further, there was another part of another song where he said something similar, but he said, a lot of rappers make dough, then be prone to losing it for crumbs. Dumb niggas sold their soul to Lucian. Now, and I said this in my short when I made this online. I said this too, but this is the much larger conversation about this line that he's saying. I'm actually really concerned about J. Cole because, it's one thing to diss somebody even subliminally, even overtly, who's just an artist, right? But when you start going after the big wigs, when you start going after the higher ups, the elites, okay? Lucian Grange, I believe, I wouldn't consider him an elite per se. I think that he's adjacent. The elites are the ones you don't see, right? The elites are the shadow figures that are hide behind it all, that are the puppet masters, okay? They're the ones you don't see, that you don't hear about, you don't even know the names of. So Lucian Grange cannot be part of the elites because, simply put, you know his name. I think Lucian Grange more so is a puppet of the elites. And the issue that I'm having is J. Cole is now, in effect, coming after Lucian Grange, who is, by the way, the CEO of Universal Music Group. Now, why would J. Cole be saying anything about Universal Music Group, Lucian Grange, Drake, Kendrick, etc.? So it's a much fuller picture you have to look at. So first of all, Kendrick Lamar and Drake work under record labels that work under Universal Music Group, or UMG. For the rest of the podcast, I'm going to refer to them as UMG, okay? So if Kendrick Lamar and Drake work under UMG, there are people who theorize that they actually were working together the entire time during the beef, okay? Huge allegation, massive, like what the heck, what are you talking about? How's that the case? It goes real deep. So long story short, Drake and Kendrick both highly benefited from that entire rap beef that they had. Okay. Songs and lyrics and videos and all the things that happened, okay, benefited not only Kendrick Lamar and Drake's pockets, but also benefited UMG ultimately, and ultimately Lucian Grange. Okay. When you look at this as a fuller picture, someone like J. Cole could be saying, yo, I kind of see what's going on here. You guys are actually working together to build out this entire narrative, but really it's all going to the pocket of Lucian Grange. No matter how much hatred y'all have toward each other, no matter who actually would have got involved in the beef, who ultimately benefits is Lucian Grange, right? So that's why he said sold their soul to Lucian, all right? J. Cole, however, and again, this is the step back moment that we have to really assess, okay? J. Cole going after a big wig like Lucian is dangerous. It is dangerous because ultimately you have to always understand that these guys have eyes and ears everywhere. All right. In the industry, out of the industry, it doesn't matter how independent you are. If for some reason these guys don't like you, they're going to get you up out the way. Okay. Either death, killing, assassination. They're going to drug you. They're going to do a drive-by shooting from some random gang members that you never had an association with. They will take your ass out. Okay. And that is the problem. People don't understand that speaking against the music industry machine has always been dangerous. And we'll talk later on in the podcast about some other very notable figures in music who were taken out by the music industry, allegedly, right? And so J. Cole, making this song and saying these things, this is some of the most overt dissing and attacks that he's made against not only the music industry, but also potentially and allegedly Drake and Kendrick. Okay. Again, this is a tough conversation because Kendrick and Drake both were involved in the beef directly. along with some other people, right? Like ASAP Rocky and Rick Ross and who else? Jeez, man, it was a lot of people. I guess you can count Chris Brown, Quavo. Who else? There's one more guy I'm missing. Wow, yeah, I think I'm missing his name right now, but he was in there some. The Weeknd, right? The Weeknd was definitely in that beef as well. It was a lot of people. That's why Drake at some point called it a 20v1 because he felt like everybody was against him, right? But when you go against the music industry like that, you gotta be so careful. And I think that JCole has been quiet long enough. I'm beginning to think the only reason why he would say something like this in a song like that, leading up to his massive project, is A, to get everyone's attention, or B, he might actually have more to say and has knowledge and information that is going to blow us away. Okay? That's my theory. He has information, knowledge about Drake and Kendrick that he's been holding on to for a long time. And at this point, I think that he's planning on blowing us away with some of the information that he might have regarding these two guys and Lucian Grange. Is that going to happen? I don't know. Is he going to drop a massive bomb on us with this new album coming up, The Fall Off? I don't know. But now to sit and see how he's almost like coming out of his shell a little bit, it begins to make me think. Now, JCole directly speaks against what I'm doing and what a lot of other music journalists are doing. I'm not a music journalist, by the way, by any means. There is no journalistic integrity regarding my content. I hope everyone understands that. Zero. Okay. These are all theories, conspiracies. There's no, all right. I'm not going to get a press pass to act like I'm some type of journalist. I am not. Okay. All I do is talk about theories, report theories about the music industry and how I feel and things. That's it. No journalistic integrity at all. So don't act like there is, because there ain't. Okay. But there are a lot of people that JCole has been speaking to in the last few projects about alleging or trying to add him into the beef or trying to look too deeply into his lyrics. But at the end of the day, that is the essence of hip hop. The essence of hip hop is there's always something beyond just the lyrics that you're saying. And I guess, apologies, buddy, but like, you got to understand, all of us are going to look deeply into these lyrics, especially when you have someone like Kendrick Lamar having quadruple, quintuple entendres, brother. It's bound to happen. So, hey, I'll send this video to JCole myself. I'm sorry. I'm going to look way deep into every single lyric that you say. Okay? You are a powerhouse in music. To act like I'm not going to look deeply into every lyric that you put out there is insane. You're insane. And I think all of you out there who are also conspiracy theorists, no matter what artist it is, no matter what genre, you're going to look into the lyrics and say to yourself, what does this really mean? What are they really saying? Right? Now, I'm not sitting here like, oh, well, you got to make nothing out of something. I'm not necessarily saying that. But what I am saying is that at the end of the day, this is hip hop, right? And people are going to look into your lyrics a little bit deeper than you want them to. And at the end of it, is it possible that he's dissing Kendrick Lamar and Drake? It's totally possible. It is totally 100% possible. Will he ever actually say it out loud? Doubt it. Because again, he's already killed the trust that he had with his fans and audiences who thought that he was going to go, all in for the rap beef. So for him to say something a year later, almost 2 years later, it's just like, nah, man, just save it. No one wants to hear that. And I think he knows that. So I don't know. We'll see. The jury is still out on the JCole conversation. The jury is still out because like I said, even if JCole decided to go independent, all right, you have to, the industry already doesn't like independence. Okay. We're going to talk about LaRussell next. If you're not familiar with LaRussell, you're about to learn about him soon. Okay. The industry already doesn't like independence. All right. The industry already doesn't like when you try to pull away from it. It already doesn't like when you are assessing your options and you don't want to sign that deal and you don't want to be part of the machine anymore, as it were. So JCole saying these things, especially to industry ears, sounds kind of suspicious. Is he planning an exit from the industry? Right? Is he planning on this being his last album? Is he planning on going fully independent? Who knows? But that type of rhetoric, even even subvertly, it's dangerous for an artist because you don't know who's listening and you don't know who is going to want to gain more information from you to figure out what you do know. Okay? I don't care what anyone says. All right? Somebody knows more shit than they're saying. They definitely do. Fuck it. Like, they do. They do. And I think JCole is keenly aware of some crazy shit happening in the industry. And the moment you act like that's not the case is the moment that information sneaks up on you, right? Is the moment that these artists will drop a tell-all book and you're like, whoa, I had no idea. JCole knows something. And I think he's going to tell us soon. I don't know, right? But let's stay on track with independence, right? So there's an artist named LaRussell. I believe he came out of the Bay Area in California. And he's been doing an incredible job. I follow him. His music is amazing. His artistry is incredible. I think he's one of the most fun artists I've ever listened to. He is just so energetic and it's a lot. He's so cool. I love it. But I saw recently that he actually just got signed on to be an opener for the Super Bowl coming up, right? Which is awesome, which is great. But again, as I talked earlier about independence, I get really nervous when artists like him start to independently, right, outside of a label, start to make a lot of cool moves because the industry doesn't like that. The industry hates that. They're going to find something, anything to take him down a peg. And I am legitimately afraid for him, right? And this has happened so many times, man. Like, it's happened so many times that something happens to these independent artists and they get completely like sidetracked or canceled or they end up dying in a random mysterious car accident, right? When you refuse to sign enough contracts, when you refuse to sign enough brand deals and record deals, these executives start to get really mad, right? Because let's spell it out, all right? When you are an independent artist, you're taking market share from the record labels. It's that simple. You're taking away market share. Oh, but music is for everybody. And I mean, I can listen to 50,000 songs in one day and everyone will make their own dollar. And no, that's not the point. Between album sales, songs being put on streaming, opportunities that you get as an independent artist, or even the sales that you make from physical tickets and physical shows where you end up touring. All of this stuff is taking market share from another artist. The more attention that you garner as an artist, the more attention you're taking from someone else. That is just the way it is. It's just the way it is, okay? You have to understand that the music industry runs off of attention. If your attention is going toward an independent artist more than it is their own acts, yeah, that's a problem. And LaRussell, at this point, is going to become a problem for the higher ups in the music industry because he is so incredibly successful, because he is doing some incredible things. He actually just recently had an entire interview or conversation or dinner or something with Jay-Z. Jay-Z, as you know, is the person who's over the music for the Super Bowl. So it makes sense how LaRussell ended up being an opener for the Super Bowl. Okay, the dots connect there. I think and I hope that Jay-Z is there as a protector of LaRussell and his independence. But according to a lot of theories that we know about Jay-Z, his trifling ass, he probably is not there to protect LaRussell. Okay? Jay-Z has been implicated in a lot of deaths, a lot of rapes, a lot of abuse, allegedly. So to believe that suddenly he's trying to protect somebody, kind of hard for me to believe, right? But who knows, right? So there's another part of this that we need to discuss, and I think people have been forgetting, right, that LaRussell is also associated very closely with the Bay Area, California, right? And who else is associated with California, the Bay Area? Not Kendrick Lamar, the Bay Area, but LA, right? Kendrick Lamar. And all of these dots connect because eventually you start to realize that, you know, all of these people are going to converge at some point. Is LaRussell going to work with Kendrick? I don't know. Is there going to be a conversation? Maybe. Who knows? But market share is being taken from other artists. as LaRussell grows his platform and his influence, that's what's happening. I'm overall just concerned that LaRussell is going to run into a situation where somebody is going to want to take him down a peg. Somebody's going to want to get rid of him, right? I'm not saying kill him. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying they're going to want to get rid of him, whether it's allegations, right? That's happened. We've seen that happen before. Allegations, mysterious allegations that came out of nowhere that, from this person or that person, they just suddenly appear, as soon as something good starts happening in their life. And now, there's 5 more allegations and there's 12 more allegations. And now you're losing support. Oh, no. Now everyone's not buying the tickets like they used to. They're not buying the albums like they used to. Oh, boy. And then you're in obscurity. All of a sudden, the only way you can make money is by signing that deal with the record label. Oh, and don't forget, that record deal that was $20 million is a little bit lower now because you took too long to sign that paper. See, before you denied the $20 million from that record label, you weren't canceled yet. You didn't have mobs of people thinking that you were a rapist or a murderer or an abuser. But see, now that you have those allegations against you, we had to take it down 15 million. You see what I mean? That kind of thing happens a lot in the music industry. People that you've never heard of have gotten completely wiped out. Their music wiped out. Their fame, fortune, and opportunities have been destroyed because they pissed somebody off who was a little higher up than them, and they denied a deal and they bruised somebody's ego, and all of a sudden their life is ruined. It's in shambles. It happens all the time. And I'm just concerned for LaRussell. I hope that doesn't happen to him. But unfortunately, I've seen it time and time. I pray that he has the protection and the shield of someone like Jay-Z who can help him avoid those scenarios. But there's no guarantee. We'll just have to see what happens. Anyway, guys, this is exciting. I'm actually happy because now we're going to talk about another subject that I thought was interesting and I wanted to touch on because a lot of people are like, oh, don't get political and blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I can do whatever I want. And it's Patreon. I can get political if I want to here. This is amazing. Oh my God. By the way, thank you so much for supporting. I'm glad you're here, right? This is worth $5 as well as all the other content on the page, right? Oh, and we will be doing live Q&As at some point, okay? We'll also be doing exclusive drops and merch and things like that here on Patreon. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Okay, comment below. Tell me how you feel. Make sure you hit the like button on the videos and stuff. Thank you, okay? Anyway, let's get a little political. So Nicki Minaj. If you're not familiar, Nicki Minaj just became a MAGA Trump supporter. Okay. Now, let me backtrack here. I don't want to say she just became a MAGA Trump supporter. I want to say that she probably has been one the entire time, but she probably got a check for a lot of money, and now she's really a MAGA Trump supporter. Okay. Listen, when those checks start to dry up and things start to get a little, a little harder, a little bit more difficult to pay the bills when you live in $1 billion house, I'm imagining that she probably took a check and started tap dancing and being an outward supporter of the MAGA Trump movement. Again, and I want to make that like crystal clear, an outward supporter, because a lot of the people that y'all know and love are supporters of Trump. That just is, it just is what it is. All right. A lot of rappers and artists and singers and directors and actors, they're all, if they're rich, let's just put it out on the table. If the person that you love and idolize is rich, it is likely that they are a Trump MAGA supporter. Sounds crazy, but it's true. It's more likely they are a MAGA Trump supporter. Okay. And so when it comes to Nicki Minaj, I think she caught a check. And I think now her being an outward supporter of Donald Trump and his campaign, not necessarily campaign because he's already elected, but at his, a lot of people will call it regime. Okay. I think now it's the most opportune time. Why not? I mean, I gotta be honest with you. A lot of people have this moral high ground where they say, if I was offered $20 million for this particular cause that I am opposed to, I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't do it. And I just got to be honest, man. Anybody that says that is probably lying, because the opportunity to do anything that's against your morals, some people do for free. Okay, so $20 million, $10 million, $5 million on the table, it is likely that you're going to fold. Now, is that everybody? No. Is that me even? No. I mean, I don't think so. But Nicki Minaj taking that check to do it doesn't surprise me. Nicki Minaj has always been sort of a, I would say, opportunist, right? She's taking opportunities to do all types of stuff, right? Whether it's bash somebody online or take the opportunity to hate tweet somebody. You know, if she's offered the money and the opportunity to do something that a lot of people would hate, that definitely does seem like something that Nicki Minaj would dive into pretty quickly, right? So recently I saw a video where she was at a conference for Trump or a rally or whatever, right? And she went up on stage, and it was such an interesting moment because, like, you could see the faces of the people in the crowd. And a lot of them just simply did not know who she was. They literally did not know who that woman was. They're like, yay, like, okay. You know, and of course, they probably did research at some point and typed in who's Nicki Minaj on their phone while they were standing there during the conference, and suddenly realized that she is a famous rapper, and then started getting excited. But there was a moment where Donald Trump could almost feel the attention being dragged away from him and put back onto her. And like, he could tell, like, wow, no, this lady's actually famous. Like, she's almost as famous as I am. Right. And Nicki Minaj is incredibly famous. Okay. Incredibly famous. No one can take that from her. And the issue about using your fame in such a platform that is so divisive, that is so destructive, right? For Trump, the MAGA movement, I am politically independent. I tell people this all the time. I am 2A gun-toting. Some would call me a libertarian. I don't really vibe with that. I lean left. I have agreed with a lot of things on both sides, but I don't agree with ICE. I don't agree with the way they've been operating. Fuck ICE, actually. To be honest with you, they need to completely not defund ICE. They need to get rid of ICE altogether. They need to eradicate it completely, and they need to reformat the entire government. Actually, I don't even like the two-party system. Okay, you want to get real political? I mean, this is Patreon. I can say what the fuck I want. I don't actually like the two-party system at all. So when someone's like, "Oh, you're a Democrat," "Oh, you're a liberal," "Oh, you must be a Republican or a conservative," I'm not any of those things. Okay, when I say I lean left, that means I for the most part, I am extremely liberal with regards to human rights and things like healthcare and stuff like that. But when it comes to like things like 2A and small government and stuff like that, that's me, right? So I think people seem to misunderstand me politically, but like, I am very much fuck the government. I've always been on that type of timing. I hate the government. Nothing about the government I like. FBI, CIA, fuck y'all, hate y'all. Every time I get on my cell phone and I talk to somebody, I always say, hey, to my FBI agent, fuck you and have a terrible day, right? I don't like the government. I've always hated the government. And if you love the government, if you love this administration, then I don't necessarily agree with you. I don't love any administration. I never loved any administration because every administration has bombed at least somebody innocent a few times. And I don't vibe with that, right? Going back to Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj apparently does vibe with the current administration, and people are pissed. Her fans are incredibly upset. And I find that odd because I'm like, Nicki Minaj being a Trump supporter sort of makes sense. I don't really know how to, she's like a contrarian, right? Like, she's sort of a contrarian. I'm not going to call her a free thinker because that's fucking stupid. But like, she definitely is somebody I would assume if everyone hates something or most people don't like something, she would be the person to like that something. Okay. most of her fans not liking Trump sort of leans into the idea that she would like Trump just because everyone else doesn't. I think, if that makes any sense. She is a pure contrarian as contrarians come. It's that simple. So her leaning into that camp, being involved, going to the rallies, I do think is financially motivated. That's just me, I guess. But her being involved with that makes a ton of sense. It makes a ton of sense. And I think we have to look at it like this. For those that are upset with Nicki Minaj, again, most rich people are MAGA Trump supporters. I almost feel like that's an absolute fact. I can't fact check that, and I can't prove that necessarily. I wish I could, but there's probably a way to quantify that, and I think it's true. Okay. And on the other end of that, everything comes at a cost, right? Everybody comes at a cost. Everybody, whether it's free, $1 million, $1 billion. She definitely was paid a certain amount of money to be up on that stage and support Donald Trump. And however much she was paid or whatever she's doing or whatever the deal is, I think it will do irreparable damage to her fan base. Okay? Now, not so much the same way like Kanye West, because people have this, and we'll talk about Kanye West another time because there's a whole thing about that I want to get into. But I'll probably do that on another podcast episode, right? But Kanye West is such an interesting case because his fans really stuck by him even after his whole, Trump support and calling people Nazis calling himself a Nazi, saying he loves Hitler and all that stuff, right? I don't think everyone sees it the same though, because Kanye West has already admitted to bipolar and mental health issues, but Nicki Minaj has not. I don't remember Nicki Minaj ever saying she has mental health issues, right? So I don't think her fan base is going to react the same way that Kanye's fan base reacted, because there's nothing to really empathize toward. Nicki Minaj is not some feeble-minded, weak, sickly, I had a car accident 25 years ago that messed up the front lobe of my brain. She ain't like that. This is just who she is. So I don't think her fans are going to be able to just be like, oh, well, she was compromised by mental health. Doubt it. Even if Nicki Minaj tried to come back and say something like that, I just don't think it will work. I really don't think it will work. So, she'll have to contend with that, figure out what that looks like in her life, because at this point, it's not looking good. But this is actually the section of the podcast where we do a Q&A session. Okay, I have people send in some questions and some responses that I have for them, and we're gonna go over a few of them right now. I'm really excited for this because this Q&A session is it's a lot of fun. I think I'm able to talk directly to my audience in this way, and for those of you who are here on Patreon, thank you so much. Some of your questions I might be answering, so please make sure you send your questions to me. Anywhere on social media. You can send it to me in DMs and I will eventually check them out, read them on here actually. So if you subscribe to the Patreon and pay the $5 a month, you'll probably see your comment on here at some point and I will answer it and answer your question. Okay. So that's going to be lots and lots of fun. All right. So the first question comes from a guy. His name is hard to pronounce, but I'll call him Mark. He says, hey, bro, you should make a video about how female artists always thank Beyonce during music awards for no particular reason, and the ones that don't fall off shortly after or even end up dead. Unless you already did a video about this, I just followed you recently. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So I think this theory is interesting because, okay, for those of you that don't know, there is a theory that you have to thank Beyonce every time you go up on stage to receive an award. Some believe that she is part of the elites, right? If not an elite, she is part of the elites, okay? Masonic, Illuminati, whatever, the elites, okay? And there's a theory that if you don't thank her, your career tanks. It just tanks. I do want to look more into that because I am not familiar with who didn't thank Beyonce. And let me see. Who did not thank Beyonce? There is one person in particular I'm thinking about, but we'll see. Let's see. Who did not thank Beyonce? The concept of not thanking Beyonce stems from a 2004 internet meme and conspiracy theory suggesting that artists must thank her upon winning awards to avoid negative repercussions. Based on the viral theory, the following instances are commonly cited. Okay, here we go. Taylor Swift, 2009. In the most famous example, Taylor Swift did not thank Beyonce when winning Best Female Video at the 2009 VMAs. This led to the infamous moment where Kanye West interrupted her speech to say that Beyonce should have won. Various other artists, the meme generally applies to any artist who has won a major award like a Grammy in a category where Beyonce was also nominated but did not pay tribute to her in their speech. Almost like she's some type of goddess or like deity or something. I never thought about that. Interesting. The one that some people point out the most is JoJo Siwa. If you're not familiar with who that is, it's a young artist, singer, Disney kid, for the tweens and teens, okay? Singer and dancer JoJo Siwa explicitly joked about this trend at the Industry Dance Awards, saying, "I also have to say thank you to Beyonce just so that we can keep the dancing community safe," okay? So this theory is, I want to dig deeper into this, but I'm pretty sure it's just about the fact that Beyonce is part of the elites. And if you don't thank her and give tribute to her like she is some type of deity, then your life is threatened and your family will be burned at the stake. So, whatever award that you receive or whatever happens in your life, just make sure you thank Beyonce. I woke up this morning. I thanked Beyonce for waking up. I did. And when I want to eat, before I eat, I pray to Beyonce and I say, thank you, Beyonce, for this wonderful meal. I appreciate it. And I remember one day when I didn't thank Beyonce, I think I was driving and I had caught a red light. And right before it turned red, I got through the red light and I didn't thank Beyonce. And I hit this massive pothole that really just tore up my alignment. So I definitely want to thank Beyonce next time. That was a mistake. I'm sorry, Beyonce. Please forgive me. Amen. But other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much where the theory stops. So thank you so much for sending that in. I appreciate it. Thank you. And I thank Beyonce. Okay. The next question that we got was, or a message was, you should check out Old World Florida on YouTube. He has done some deep dives on music and other stuff. Very informative, and I have learned a bunch. Keep up the good work and have a blessed day. Wow, thank you so much, Kimberly. I'm not familiar with Old World Florida. I will look that up because I think we should all be building out a community of conspiracy theorists, right? I think it's really important for all of us who are curious about looking past the surface, right? Looking deeper into all of these things. We all need to stick together and have a community of people who are interested in being engaged with each other and being engaged with, different conspiracies in different ways, right? Even I have thought about doing conspiracy content outside of song theory, right? So I've thought about financial theory, right? About the banks and, the Rockefellers and stuff. I've thought about doing sports theory. I thought about doing, book theory. I mean, there's so many things you could create theories about, right? And building a community of people who love to do that and who just like to engage themselves deeply in conspiracy theorism. I definitely want to talk to Old World Florida and be able to, maybe I might even do an interview with them. I don't know. We'll see. That sounds like fun, actually. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I appreciate it. The last one on the Q&A sessions comes from Lucy. She says, "Hi, I'm sure you get tons of messages, so I really hope you see this." I am. Thank you. I heard this conspiracy in a YouTube video that conscious rap stopped being pushed in the States and intentionally sent to developing countries because it causes people to rise up a lot of times and it becomes the song of the political group, which further aids to global anti-blackness due to the group opposing traditional cultural ideas. Wow. You know what? That actually does I like that theory, actually. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's break that down. So the idea that conscious rap here doesn't play well because our government and the elites don't want people being knowledgeable and conscious of what's going on in their reality. So they block music like that over here. Yet they ship that music overseas to more unstable countries because then they're able to use these songs as a tool of instability or a tool to perpetuate instability so that the people in that country could rise up and do the bidding of the U.S. government, meaning take down a I don't know, a regime or a dictator, or, you know, fundamentally change the paradigm of their political system. That actually makes, you know what? I kind of like that. You know, let's go deeper on that. I mean, I think the most recent example you have the Arab Spring, right? You have a lot of people who have protested and gone out in the streets in other countries, right? You have there's a uprising happening in Iran right now, I think. And I wonder what songs they're listening to. Are they listening to, you know, songs that are antithetical to their government? Are they listening to songs that are, you know, making them increasingly angry and want to go revolt and want to go throw stuff around? Now that I think about it, I really haven't heard of any songs that are really like that right now in this era of music. I haven't really heard of anybody making politically charged music that is specifically against the United States government. Now that you say that, Lucy, I think you might be right. That theory makes a lot of sense. I like that a lot. I like that. I'm going to look deeper into that. But thank you guys so much for the Q&A. That was really great. If you're here and watching this, thank you so much to Lucy, to Kimberly, and to Mark. These are incredible questions. And always, please, if you're watching this, send in your questions, send me a direct message. I am reading these, I'm looking at them, and I want to engage with you guys and build the community. So please send in your questions. I really appreciate it. In fact, I'll make it even easier. What you can do is send in your questions, any song theory questions you want me to answer or talk about. Send it to this email. It's songtheory1@gmail.com. Send it there. And that way I can answer your messages and your emails. Just put in the subject line what you want to talk about, and I got you. Send it there. Okay. And then that way we can engage with each other and I can answer more of your questions. All right. So in this part of the podcast, we're actually going to talk about something that is relatively close to the JCole conversation. And that is how upsetting the music industry elites can get you killed. Okay. So earlier we talked about JCole, right? Going after Lucian Grange. We talked about Lil Russell, you know, rustling the leaves and causing some people to be concerned about his health and safety because he's becoming such a huge independent artist that he actually might be taking away market share from other artists who are signed to these multi-million-dollar deals with these massive corporations, right? Well, what does it look like when and who can we point to that has really upset the music industry so much that, well, they ended up dead? Look no further than Michael Jackson, guys. Look no further than Prince. I mean, think about it. Michael Jackson was in a situation where he was in direct opposition to his record label, right? I believe it was Sony Music. And there was a higher up there named, I think, Tony Mottola. Let me look it up. Let's see. Mottola. And Michael Jackson hated Tony. Hated him because Tony was abusive. He was a womanizer. Some allege that he was a rapist. Some people allege that he was just a terrible overall person. And Michael Jackson hated everything about this motherfucker. Do you understand me? Everything. And Michael Jackson wasn't one to really hate. He hated Tony. Okay. And he hated Tony so much so that he would go on stage and say that Tony was a bastard. You understand me? Like, he was a piece of shit to Michael Jackson. All right. And so eventually Michael Jackson wanted to pull away his masters from Sony Music. And he worked really hard to establish that. And not only that, Michael Jackson was buying up the masters of all these other artists. And some of you might be familiar with the Beatles and Eminem. So there's word that Michael Jackson was buying up the masters from all of these people. He had a tremendous amount of money, so much money. It was so much money that Michael Jackson had that he was rivaling his own record label. Okay. Michael Jackson was rivaling the industry elites that were, building out that entire corporation. right? Again, not the elites, not the unnamed, unfaced elites, because they are multi-cajillionaires, but we're talking about the puppets, right? Like the executives, right? Michael Jackson was making more money than the executives, and he wanted all of his catalog, and that would have ruined Sony. Not in a way of like bankruptcy, but like that's billions of dollars away from their market share that Michael Jackson would have taken away from them. And some people believe that that fight, that situation, is what led Michael Jackson into his eventual death. Okay. Some people understand that the music industry is very particular about masters and ownership. Masters and ownership. This is why being an independent artist who is successful in the music industry can prove to be dangerous. Okay. Michael Jackson being the biggest artist ever, I would say ever in the history so far of our universe, Michael Jackson was the biggest artist. And for him to run into a problem where his ownership came into question and he wanted to take back what he felt like was owed to him from a record label. Again, people theorized that this record label was not going to go out without swinging. They took Michael Jackson out, according to the theory. They killed Michael Jackson. Period. If you don't want somebody coming after your money, you can't bargain with them. You can't shake their hand and hope they go away. They took it upon themselves to hire a doctor who did what he did to Michael Jackson and got him up out of here. Prince, no different. Prince actually was a massive conspiracy theorist. A lot of people don't realize Prince was a huge conspiracy theorist. That nigga loved chemtrails. Talk about chemtrails and the third eye, okay, and frequencies. Like, he was all about that. And he would speak out against the music industry. And he actually had predicted about AI a couple times. But no one wants to have that conversation. We might do a whole podcast episode on that one day. But Prince was really tuned in. And they didn't like that either, because eventually Prince tried to get his masters. He tried to own his catalog, and they took him out. So at the end of the day, what we're looking at is this. As if you're striving to be an independent artist, if you want to get into your own bag, just know that you're taking market share away from the larger community of musical artists who are signed to these multi-million-dollar deals. There are more unsuccessful artists signed to multi-million-dollar deals than there are successful artists signed to multi-million-dollar deals. Most of the artists that you know are only a tiny fraction of the total amount of artists in the record label. Okay? You know very few. There are thousands of people who are signed to record deals that you will never hear about, that you will never know, that you will never listen to their music because they became a tax write-off. So an independent artist who's really making millions, legitimate millions, is going to piss off people who are higher up. Okay? And God forbid they deny a multi-million-dollar deal from one of these corporations, they're going to get extra mad. Now, being mad that an independent artist doesn't sign with you is one thing. Being mad that someone like Michael Jackson or Prince wants to own their masters and their catalog and take away what may be billions of dollars from your wallet as a record executive, oh yeah, you gonna kill them. You gonna take them out. You gonna find a way to get them up out of here. And allegedly that's what happened. So, at the end of it, that is the thing about the music industry. These elites, these record labels, they are predatory. They're out for blood. They don't want anybody to win. They just want you to lose. That's all they care about. They win, you lose. That simple. That simple. So at this point, guys, I appreciate it. This is the end of the podcast episode 1, the Song Theory podcast. Thank you guys for being here. For being on the Patreon, only $5 a month, guys. I'm never going to raise that price, by the way. That price is never going to go up. It's just not. And not only do you get this podcast that is exclusive to Patreon, you also get my past catalog of song theories that I did years ago. Okay, it's actually really fun, and you get to be the first to some of the greatest content that I'm making. You guys get to get, first dibs on a lot of that stuff, and that's exciting as well. And again, live Q&As, merch, all of it, guys. Your support means everything to me, and without you guys, I would not be able to do what I do every single day. So thank you so much. The Song Theory Podcast is signing out, and don't forget to get your Song Theory mugs. Get your Song Theory mugs, guys. I have merchandise. I have it all. So please support the channel further if you like. You don't have to, of course. What do I have in here? Well, I have a ginger ale and tequila. So thank you guys so much for giving me this freedom, for allowing me to just finally dig into these theories as deep as I want to get, and not be afraid of shadow banning or getting rejected or my videos being demonetized. I don't have to worry about that shit anymore. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you guys. Hope you have a great day. Better tomorrow. God bless. Song Theory episode 2 on the way. I'll see you guys later.